So of course it started out like any other engagement, pre-engagement discussion. When are you gonna get me a ring? When are you gonna get me a ring? When are you gonna get me a ring? Over
I
and
did
over.
bug him all the time about it, and I think he started really getting on his nerves.
And I made the mistake of we made the mistake of going and looking.
That wasn't a mistake. That was a good thing. I think.
Well, it definitely put a fire under my tail as far as having to knowing that this was serious. So yeah, so we went and looked. I guess I was in for Christmas this year.
It was Christmas of 2011.
Yeah, I was in for Christmas, and we went to Genesis Diamonds in Nashville, and went and looked and looked and looked, and
he did call me one night at my apartment, and he said, "I really don't want to ask you this, but I'm going to have to." He says, "I've got 2 rings that I'm looking at," and he said, "I need to kind of know which one you would kind of prefer." And so when we had that conversation, I knew things were getting closer, and I knew things were progressively getting more serious, and I thought, okay, it really is coming now.
After she made that call, I called and asked her, I actually had the diamond picked out. I just couldn't figure out which band to get, and so
He did perfect. It's so beautiful. I still stare at it all the time.
Yeah, so it is beautiful.
So fast forward to the proposal day.
Fast forward to the proposal day.
March 30th.
March 30th. Yep. I had been planning that month that I had the ring before. I had been planning the whole time, trying to figure out what to do, and it was the weekend of Easter, actually, or the week before Easter. And I could not figure out what to do. Everything kept coming back to like sending her on a little scavenger hunt, because we were always kind of having fun, wanting to do things like that. And so anyway, the Easter egg idea came about, and I decided to run with it, and so that's what we did. She was supposed to pick me up from the airport that evening. However, I was traveling with work, and I had made arrangements to be in Tennessee the night before that she thought I was going to be there, so I could do my planning and setting up. I went to breakfast that Friday morning with her parents.
So I have to interject here because he proposed to me on a Friday, and on Thursday my mom came up to spend the night with me in Nashville. And to make a long story short, I had a spider problem in my apartment. I live in a basement right now, and I had a spider-like infestation. One was on my bed, like when I woke up, and I just don't do well with bugs at all. And so I told my mom, I'm kind of crazy, I know, but we went and stayed in a hotel that night. I told her I'd pay for it. I just couldn't sleep. I was mortified till these spiders got taken care of, because I kept finding like bundles of them. So she was kind of upset about that, but I said, "Mom, please, let's do." So the next day, she kept asking me, "What are you going to wear today?" And I said, "What does it matter? I mean, I'm just going to work like any other day, And she said, "Well, how are you going to fix your hair?" And she kept asking all these questions, and I knew I was going to see Nathaniel Friday, but after she kept asking those questions, I thought, okay, something's up, and I can read my mom like a book. And so when she kept asking and probing about how I was going to look that day, she never cares, so I was thinking, this is just kind of strange. So I wore this dress, this blue, or it was not blue, it was orange. It was an orange dress with a blue sweater, and I scrunched my hair and wore it up, and she's like, "Well, I think you need to wear it down." And I said, "No, I'm going to wear it up. I can do what I want to do with my own hair." So anyway, after talking to Mom, I kind of had a suspicion, and then the next morning she's like, I have to leave. I have to get home to get something for your dad. And I thought, well, that's kind of strange. So there were just some strange things happening, leading up to all of this, but I had no idea that he had flown in the night before. However, I did make him a sign to take to the airport that said, "Welcome home, Nathaniel. had balloons on it, and I was going to surprise him with that. And so on my way to the airport, I called him and I said, "Are you here?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm at baggage claim. I'm getting my luggage. I'll be right out." And so I'm standing outside of my car with the sign ready for him. And then all of a sudden, his best friend and his wife come outside of baggage claim, and they're kind of dressed up. And I thought, well, that's strange. Why are they here? They don't need to be here to pick him up. I'm picking him up, you know. And so they walk towards my car, and they're not even talking. They're just very solemn, just walking. And I thought, this is weird. And so Chance looks at me and he gives me this big Easter egg, and he says, "You need to read what's inside of this, get in your car, we're going on a scavenger hunt." So at that point, I was pretty certain that he was up to something. I kind of knew what was at the end of that something, but I just still didn't know. They couldn't talk to me. They were told not to say anything by Nathaniel. So I was reading these letters, and each letter had something kind of significant about the location that he would lead me to. So for instance, the first letter said, "This is where we end our day, and we always share our funny stories from the day. We pray together every day." And I knew he was talking about my apartment at home. So in rush hour traffic, I'm trying to get there as fast as I can from the airport, and it just felt like an eternity. And then I get to the apartment, and there's another egg sitting on my pillow, and I open it up, and it says, "This is the place that you spend most of your time every day, and we chat throughout the day." And he said other things, but I knew he meant work. And so at that point, I'm going to work, and it's another 20-minute drive, so I'm thinking, oh, hurry up. So
I was buying time, though.
He was buying time, yeah. And then the last clue, this is kind of funny, because the last clue, it said something about a place of worship, and I guess I was just like out of excitement. I didn't really read it very well, and my church that I go to in Nashville is just like a block away from where I work, and so I thought he was referring to my church. And so I get in the car, and I'm telling Chance and Sarah to come on, and they kind of look at each other like, I don't think this is right. But we get to my church, and then Chance says, "I think you need to reread that letter. I don't think you read it right." And so sure enough, there's a chapel inside of the building where I work, and that's where he was. And so we drove back to work one last time, and I hopped out and ran upstairs to the chapel, and I walked inside, and Nathaniel was standing on the stage, and Sam Sanders, who plays the piano for me when I sing at church, and he's just a really great guy, we love him, he was there playing Till There Was You on the piano, and I walked in, and we danced for a little bit, which of all has never happened, because I work for the Southern Baptist Convention. Southern Baptists don't dance, you know, so we kind of broke a record. It was great. We did. We really did. And my boss was standing there watching the whole thing, and he didn't object, so, you know.
He was fine with it.
So we slow danced for a little bit, and then he said, "Can I dip you?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "I don't think that's necessary." He said, "I need to dip you. I want to dip you." And I said, "No, what if you drop me? That's not going to be good." He's like, "I need to dip you." Well, that was his cue to Sam to quit playing the piano so that he could actually propose. So he did, and then he got his little golden egg and got down on one knee, and it was the sweetest thing in the world. And our family was there, like in the background, kind of watching it all, and my coworkers were all hiding upstairs watching it. I had no clue. And my coworker Sam got it on camera, and our friend Lucretia took the pictures of the proposals. That was really special. And then we went out to a restaurant in East Nashville and had burgers and celebrated with the whole family. It was the opening weekend of the Opry Mills Mall, so we went there afterwards. And
so as you can see, for me, I was stressed out this whole time. I didn't know how to get into her house. I didn't know how I was going to get her to the church. I was afraid that all of that was going to mess up.
He was going to get the church, but they were doing an Easter program, and they had a big tomb from, like, you know, where Christ rises from, and he thought that wouldn't make a very good backdrop for a proposal. Glad he didn't go that route.
So yeah, so I had called Sam, and he had gave him the music that I wanted to play, and so he could be practiced up. I had practiced dancing that whole week before, after we would hang up, talk for the night, and go to bed, I had like YouTube blared, and I had the furniture in the hotel room like pushed to one side, and I was in there like dancing by myself.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall.
Practicing all of this stuff. Oh, it was. And that day, oh my goodness, I was a nervous wreck the whole day.
I never sensed it though in his voice. He did a really good job at covering that up. So that's our proposal story.
Yeah.
Was it anything?
There was a lot of prayer and a lot of asking for guidance in that. But yeah, if it weren't, the Lord's completely led our whole relationship throughout everything. Every decision that we've made, seems just like the Lord has just completely orchestrated everything for us. So
I went to India for 2 weeks in May, and that was a hard thing to encounter, just being gone right after it felt like we had gotten engaged. But the Lord grew us through that experience as well. So if He's in it, it's going to work out.
That's right.
Okay.
Done.
We're done.